Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Hey, my friend, welcome to Pivot Parenting. I'm so excited that you're here. And today we're talking about a really not fun topic. When we see our kids being mistreated, it's not fun. And this topic is brought to you today by somebody close to my heart who has a child that this is happening to. And they come home and they cry and they just want to be liked. And they just don't understand why their friends go out without them and don't ever invite them and are sometimes really nice and sometimes really not nice. And it's very unpredictable. It feels very unstable for this person's child. And they want to wring the necks of these mean friends and they want to shake their child and make them see that they don't need these rude friends who are only nice to them when they need a ride somewhere or help with their homework or something else from them. They have like taker friends that only want to take, and they don't provide this sweet child, this teenager, with a good, loyal group of friends to support them and to see them through hard times. They just kind of do what they want. And if it's convenient, they include this friend and it breaks their heart, which breaks the parent's heart. I know that this is a common struggle because I've heard from many parents that their children are in a similar situation. And this starts before grade school, during grade school, in high school. I see adults in relationships like this. They can gossip, they can treat them poorly, they play hot, cold, and pull them in, and then they're best friends, and then the next day they're dead to them. And it's so frustrating when we just want our kids to walk away, to like themselves enough that they don't need these friends. And it's hard for the parents. It's frustrating. You feel helpless, and Mama Bear can come out. So today we're going to talk about how you can help your teen navigate these unhealthy friendships and help foster their confidence and resilience. And by so doing, we can help our children feel loved, feel connected, feel wanted, and give them that space of safety and fun that they need and crave. So let's dive in. I want to break today's episode into 4 different segments. The first one, I want to talk about why teenagers tolerate nasty friends like this. And how the segment 2 is how to help them identify these toxic friendships so that they can be immunized towards people who are using them. And then the third portion is we're going to cover how to empower your teen to navigate these really tricky situations. I know that it's really hard for teenagers to advocate for themselves, to stand up to their peers, to put themselves first. So we're going to go over that. And then the last portion is how you can support your teen emotionally as they go through this, because this is work that we cannot do for our child. These are things that they need to figure out for themselves, unless, of course, there is abuse going on, and then we need to step in and take much more serious steps to clean it up and to help protect our child. So this episode is not for if your child is being straight out bullied, although a lot of the information will be helpful and applicable, but I'm not speaking directly to bullying. And it is not if your child is being abused. In such situations, you need to work with administration. You need to do a lot of other things that I'm not going to discuss today. I've had some questions about bullying lately, and I am looking for an expert to come on that we can talk about together because I think that that would be really helpful for you. And it is always about creating the best content and having the best experts to best help you. So I haven't addressed bullying yet because I haven't found the right person, the right specialist to come on and give that information. I digress. Let's talk about why teenagers tolerate mean friends. Why? Why do they do it? Let's talk about teen psychology. Here's what I learned in adolescent development courses and books. When children are little, their main community is family. And in Western culture, that shifts in adolescence to peers. And you can see this if you look around in most families. Significance, that most significant role shifts from a parent, and the teenagers are all of a sudden placing it on their friends or maybe like older cool cousins or siblings. But it is no longer mom and dad. It is my friends are the most important thing. They have such a desire to fit in. They have a fear of being alone. And then, of course, it's the awkward years. So they lack confidence in their likability and their capability and their sociability. So they just think, I can't lose these friends because then I won't have any friends. They can't think beyond because that's the development of their brain. And then you have this social hierarchy and pressure in schools and communities. And we all know this. It's highlighted in every single teen movie ever. You have the lunch table with the jocks. You have the lunch table with the cool girls. You have the lunch table with the brainy kids. You have the lunch table with, the druggies. You like literally from The Breakfast Club to Twilight to Mean Girls, every teenage movie, they highlight the tables or where people sit. Even Legally Blonde in college, they have the different clubs with all the different personas. Why? Because it kind of rings true. And this is where kids really fine tune hierarchy. Now, I'm not a fan of hierarchy. I think that we are all divine and you cannot best one another because we are all of infinite worth. Teenagers would disagree. And so it's like this pecking order, and they want to climb high in the pecking order. And so if these friends are perceived to be higher in the popularity, in the hierarchy, they will put up with a lot of crap just to be liked by the cool kids. Then you couple the psychology with the developmental stage of their brain. They're still learning about boundary setting and emotional regulation, which makes it harder for them to recognize or put up boundaries and act appropriately when they are being mistreated. And even adults will do this. I remember a time when I was 18 and I worked at a department store that no longer exists. It was called ZCMI, and it was here in Utah. And this guy that was a couple years older than me and married, I was single, he kept putting his hands on me. Like, you know how men will like put their hands on your hips to like move you? It's so annoying. Or like put their arms around you to grab something in front of you. He would do this to me. And he was also suspected of nefarious shoplifty type of things. So security was watching him. And I knew security was watching him, which meant they saw him doing these things to me. And at first I thought, this is like, he just needed to move and it's tight behind the counter where we're all checking out. But he kept doing it. And our nervous systems, especially those who have never experienced inappropriate behavior, you second guess yourself. Did that really happen? Did they really mean it like that? Did I take it out of context? Am I making a big deal out of nothing? But the nice thing about this work experience for me is that security saw it and they came to me afterward and they were like, oh my goodness, he has his hands all over you. That is so inappropriate. And so they were able to make valid what my nervous system was telling me, but what my brain was trying to talk me out of, which is this is inappropriate. But also, it's not a big deal. I kind of imagined it. It whatever. Like we have these conflicting voices in our heads, and our teenagers have the same thing. And so they're just developing all of these things, and everything is new to them. And so they are going to second guess themselves, and they are going to downplay what doesn't serve what they want, which is to not rock the boat, which is to have everybody like them. And then we want to look at empathy for their perspective. Our teenagers' emotional experiences are valid, even if it's not what we would think or do, because their lens, their life experiences, and how they view things and the significance of things, it's valid to them because they're not us. And so for them to want to maintain friendships, we need to understand why and not just be like, they're a jerk. Ditch them. We need to have empathy. We want to understand. Another really interesting developmental thing about the teen brain is that their neurotransmitters are releasing way more emotions than that of an adult because they are trying to figure things out, because they have so many more synapses, because they're having so many more dendrite blooms. Their brains are on like a wild growth spurt. And so they really do feel way more than we would feel. So we would say it's not that big of a deal. Just go find some new friends. But to them, that might feel like the end of the world. And they're not being dramatic. It really feels like it would be the end of the world because they have so much more emotion coursing through their veins. All right, let's address the second portion, which is identifying toxic friendships. First and foremost, the best immunization that you can give your child against any kind of toxic relationship, whether that's friendship or romantic or work or anything else, is to show them what a healthy one looks like. Because nothing feels more icky to somebody who normally experiences healthy relationships than an icky one. It's like a natural repellent when your child knows how it feels to be treated with respect and kindness. Even when there's confrontation, even when people don't agree, and yet nobody is treated inhumanely. And so the way that you and your spouse speak to one another and the way that you speak to your children and to your family of origin is the best way to help them avoid friendships like this. Now, if you're like, well, crap, good news. You can always flip things around. Did you know that I coach on marriage? I coach on mother-in-laws. I coach on dads. I coach on all the relationships because they all affect one another. I am just your general relationship expert. I just really like the parent-teen dynamic. And so that is what I speak to. But I can help with any relationship. And I do with all of my clients, even with relationship with self. You not putting up with toxic crap from other people is the best way you can show your child how to not put up with toxic crap from other people. Seriously. So, signs of a toxic friendship can be exclusion, passive-aggressive behavior, gossip, manipulation, emotional inconsistency, hot and cold treatment that keeps your teen seeking approval. Anything like that isn't healthy. And so you want to identify and then open up the conversation with your child to help them identify. Now, this is human behavior, but especially with our teenagers. We humans, we don't like it when people spell things out for us. We like to connect the dots. So we want to use non-judgmental, open-ended questions for our kids. How do you feel after hanging out with them? What do you like about this friendship? What benefits does it give you? What frustrates you? How does this person bring out the best in you or help you? How can you help bring out the best in them? How do you support one another? How does that make you feel? And why do you think that they want to make you feel that way? We just want to ask questions to get them seeing the relationship from a healthier perspective. We want to encourage awareness. Patterns are really great for this. Seems like they're only nice to you when they want something from you. Is that how you want to be valued, as a commodity? But we don't want our kids to feel attacked or forced to make decisions. A lot of our kids are really stubborn, and if they don't like the friendship, but they think that we don't like it and don't approve, they will hold on to it just to spite us. If you have this kid, you know. Some kids are not like this, some are. And you know, if you have this type of kid, do not connect the dots for them. Love them, support them, cry with them, ask them if they would like help or how you can help them. Don't break up with their friends for them. They have to do that. That is a strength that they have to achieve on their own. You can't do it for them. It's kind of like the little chick that has to peck out of the egg. They have to do that because they're gaining the skills for all their other relationships in their life. Hi there. I just want to pause and let you know if you are struggling to make sense of your teen's behaviors, emotions are running wild, and you're looking to turn things around to have the family you dreamed of while rocking them to sleep, I would love to talk to you. I want to give you a special, powerful gift. 30 minutes with me, my friend. You'll walk away with more confidence, clarity, and understanding of what the issue is and your next best step in resolving any situation you bring to me. It's completely free. I love families and want to help yours be wildly happy and successful. Book this call by visiting my website, heatherfraser.com. Remember, Fraser is spelled with a Z-I in the middle. And don't worry, the link is also in the show notes. I look forward to meeting and helping you. All right, the third portion that I want to talk about is how we empower our teen to navigate these sticky situations that they may find themselves in. Again, the first and foremost is to model self-worth and healthy relationships. The best way to affirm your teen's value and uniqueness is to praise their efforts. So instead of saying, I knew you'd get an A, I knew you'd work hard and get a good grade. Complimenting who they are inside and not what they do is always going to be more affirming. And then not making a big deal of failures, celebrating what makes them unique, even if it's not socially normal, especially if it's not socially normal. Celebrating that and letting them know that it makes them extra special and that the world needs uniqueness. We don't need it to all be the same. Now, I will say that you have to be very careful when you do things like this because oftentimes teenagers and humans generally will double down on their negative self-talk when we try to tell them how great they are. And so if your child is consistently saying, I'm the worst, I'm so stupid, nobody likes me, I'm ugly, boys just don't like me, or whatever, I'm guessing you've tried to talk them out of it. No, well, you're the best. You're so awesome. And they're like, what? And you're like, no, you really are. And you just want to like pound it into their little heart so that they can feel your love. Don't do that. If your kid is white knuckle gripping onto their belief of how awful they are, do not try to rip it from their hands. They will double down. If you know, you know. What you want to do instead is be empathetic. Do not agree with them. Yeah, you're not that cute. No, 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 no. Don't try to fix it for them. I've had parents try to fix let's go shopping and buy you some new clothes, or let's start a new diet. Do not agree with them. What you want to do is you want to go neutral. It hurts my heart that you think that about yourself. I think you're wonderful. Something along those lines. I bet that feels awful to think that. What other things could we think about you that maybe aren't so painful? You want to just go neutral. You can kind of show them how those thoughts about themselves, I couldn't make any better friends. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think you're pretty awesome. We have fun together. But I understand that it's scary to make new friends. We want to go really neutral. And then we want to encourage them to build confidence outside of these friendships, such as through hobbies and talents and connections in other social groups, whether that's sports teams, playing an instrument, running races and being a really fast racer, joining the ski team, whatever it is. Find other things to do to build confidence that doesn't include those friends. Then we want to teach them how to have healthy boundaries. A boundary is something that we do for ourselves. A boundary states, if or when this happens, then I will respond in this way. So if you start saying mean things to me, I will remove myself from the situation. Or if I hear that you're gossiping about me, then I will not share things with you, or whatever boundary your child wants to set. You can't set your kids' boundaries for them. You can teach them what a boundary is. You can ask them if they would like to try some boundaries with their friends. And that's about it. The nice thing about boundaries, though, is we don't have to tell people we have boundaries. We can, and sometimes that's a good idea to say, I have these boundaries, and sometimes it's better not to say and just to do if they are crossed. Then we want to coach and mentor our child. We do not want to try to control them. You want to avoid forcing your kid to ditch their friends that are mean. Unless there is true harm going on, they need to figure it out. We want to equip them to make choices that align with their values, with their happiness, with the type of relationships that they want to have in their life. We want to educate them. And then we want to provide alternative opportunities for connections. So we can suggest ways for them to expand their social circle, such as joining a club, attending a youth group or church group, connecting with family friends. Cousins are sometimes fun if they're around. All of those types of things. We can look for opportunities outside of what is not working to help empower them through these hard times. And then the fourth thing is that we want to know how to emotionally support our teen. Because, my friend, we need to be their stability. We need to be their rock. And if we're freaking out and falling apart, that does not bode well for them. We want to be, first and foremost, a safe space. Please let your teen vent and get it all off their chest without interrupting them, without trying to immediately solve their problems. And you don't even need to badmouth the other friends. Just validate their feelings. Try to avoid minimizing the situation. Again, neurologically, it really does feel like the end of the world. Be a safe space. So listen to them and treat them how you would want to be treated in a similar situation with their similar brain and experience capacity. And then again, I cannot reiterate enough, supporting them emotionally means to model healthy relationships. Because the best way to get them to know what is healthy and not healthy is for them to have only experienced healthy relationships until they start meeting these awful friends. And then they'll be like, I got to get out of this. We can be really open and honest about our communication. Let them see how you discuss things that are appropriate with your spouse when you don't see eye to eye. Let your kids see you have those conversations of having boundaries with one another or with other family members. If your mom comes over uninvited and that doesn't work for you, let them see you working that out with her in a kind, loving, very boundary respecting way. For example, we need to show them how to maintain positive relationships, how to manage people that don't respect boundaries, that want to use us. We all have these people in our life. Let your kids see how you lovingly manage them. And then we just want to encourage resilience and growth by having conversations. Besides our example, explain how dealing with difficult people is unfortunately a life skill. And if it's not this guy, it's the next one. Whether it's somebody in your group in Spanish class that you can't get away from, or your manager at work, or the in laws that you marry into, or whatever it is. Difficult people are all around us, but they don't have to be difficult when we are educated and skilled in loving them and having boundaries and respecting ourselves enough that they don't get a chance to disrespect us as much. And we can do this through reframing these challenges, these people, as opportunities for personal growth, for emotional intelligence, for honing the skill of navigating when people try to be unkind to us. Because this is a specific set of muscles that we all need, even if it's just trolled on social media that you don't even know their name and all of a sudden they're saying mean things to you. That can really hurt unless you have the skill set to allow that person to be them and know that it's actually about them and it's not about you. I promise that your kid thinking, I'm not lovable, I'm not likable, I'm not fun, is untrue. It is because these kids who are treating them unkindly haven't learned the skills to be kind. It's about them, not your child. And so to recap, recognize toxic friendships, empower your teen to set boundaries, support them emotionally, encourage hope. Nothing lasts forever, even though it can feel like it when you're in the pit of misery. But with patience and guidance and love, your teen can develop confidence and the ability to foster healthier relationships. Ultimately, this is their choice, but we can show them, and everybody wants healthy relationships. And so modeling it for them really is the best way to do it. If you need help with your specific situation and applying this information, please don't hesitate to reach out. I offer a free Peaceful Parenting consult call where for 30 minutes we can talk about your exact situation. I will tailor a step-by-step guide for you where you're at specifically to where you would like to be specifically in your family relationships. And it is the most valuable 30 minutes. Even if we don't end up working together, you're going to walk away with so much information and hope and clarity as to what to do next. It really is powerful. So I invite you in the show notes, click the link, book a call with me, and I can't wait to talk to you. And we'll see you next week.
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lost cause. Crying in the closet 'cause you failed at being a mom. But think again, there's peace around the corner, and there's hope in your hands. Your kid just wants your love.